In 1984, a movie about a killer cyborg turned an Austrian bodybuilder into a global superstar. The Terminator movies ended up changing the world, and no person had their life altered more than Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's impossible to imagine the Terminator without Arnold Schwarzenegger. It seems like the part was pretty much made for him, and there's no doubt that he was the perfect choice to take on the role. However, Schwarzenegger was initially hesitant to sign on. He originally wanted to play Kyle Reese, the resistance fighter who goes back in time to protect Sarah Connor.
Hey, I think this guy's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
He still had some ideas for how the Terminator should be played, though, so he had a discussion with director James Cameron. Schwarzenegger recalled, "I said there should be no joy, no gratification, no kind of victory lap of any sort. Just the mission complete."
You don't feel any emotion about it one way or another?
No. I have to stay functional until the mission is complete.
Cameron liked Schwarzenegger's idea and saw that he genuinely understood the character, so he ended up offering Schwarzenegger the part. The bodybuilder wasn't on board at first, as he didn't want to play a villain and the role didn't have many lines. But after spending some time thinking about it, he was persuaded into making the decision that would define his entire career.
Your clothes. Give them to me, now.
The Terminator wasn't Schwarzenegger's first major film. That would be Conan the Barbarian, in which he starred as Conan himself. He had already begun making a name for himself in Hollywood before meeting with James Cameron and becoming the T-800.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Despite that, Schwarzenegger credits The Terminator as the film that turned him into a genuine action star. Conan did well at the box office, but it just didn't earn the same universal acclaim that The Terminator did. Plus, Schwarzenegger went on to appear in several more Terminator films after the success of the original, while he only returned to his role as Conan for one sequel. As the actor put it during a panel discussion at San Diego Comic-Con, Terminator was the movie that really launched my action movie career. From that moment on, everything has changed in my life. Conan may have been Schwarzenegger's initial breakthrough role, but The Terminator brought him to a whole new level of fame and cemented his status as an action star in the public eye. The Terminator became more than just a film. It was a cultural phenomenon, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was at the center of it all. His few lines were quoted all the time, along with impressions of his unmistakable accent.
Up and at 'em.
Up and at them.
Up and at 'em.
Up and at them.
Up and at 'em.
Up and at them.
The Terminator was eventually selected for preservation in the National Film Registry for its cultural significance, and the American Film Institute declared the T-800 as one of the best movie villains of all time. Why did the Terminator make such a huge impact? Schwarzenegger has a theory. The Terminator represents the inner rage that people often try to suppress. His character was an emotionless monster, and he could do whatever he wanted without facing the consequences that a normal person would. As Schwarzenegger told Men's Health, people really admire the character because he was able to do things they all wanted to do. Everyone wants to wipe out a police station when they get mad at the police. Schwarzenegger was already in incredible shape when he began filming The Terminator, but to really commit to the character, he had to pick up a whole new set of skills. After all, he was playing a character whose whole body could function as a weapon, with the sole mission of finding and killing Sarah Connor. That's why he needed to learn how to use a variety of weapons. He would be spending a lot of time in front of the camera with a gun in his hand. Schwarzenegger wrote in his memoir, Total Recall, "I worked with guns every day before we filmed, and for the first 2 weeks of filming, I practiced stripping and reassembling them blindfolded until the motions were automatic."
You know your weapons, buddy.
Schwarzenegger also spent a lot of time at a shooting range, practicing with different weapons. He said that it was a challenge, but he had to get those techniques down if he wanted to play a convincing killing machine.
Jesus, you were gonna kill that guy!
Of course, I'm a Terminator.
Arnold Schwarzenegger came to the United States with pretty much nothing and clawed his way up to the top, so it's easy to see why someone like him might feel like he was solely responsible for his own success. However, when he reflects on his early years in Hollywood, he knows that James Cameron is partially to thank for his achievements. On Cameron's birthday, Schwarzenegger posted a kind tribute to the director who changed the trajectory of his life. He shared Cameron's original storyboards for The Terminator, which depicted the T-800 as an imposing villain somewhere between man and machine. As Schwarzenegger wrote, "You're a big reason that I can never call myself self-made. This early storyboard you drew for Terminator reminds me of your big vision, and I cherish it." Cameron's support has clearly humbled Schwarzenegger and taught him that in Hollywood, no one makes it all on their own. If there's one line everyone knows from the Terminator, it's the one that the T-800 says before driving through the side of a police station.
I'll be back.
Surprisingly though, Schwarzenegger was not a huge fan of the way Cameron had written the line. He objected to the contraction in the phrase, telling the writer and director that he thought the Terminator should say, "I will be back" instead. He felt that his version of the line would sound more like a machine speaking the words. Predictably, Cameron was stubborn about sticking to his script, reminding Schwarzenegger that he was the writer and his judgment should be trusted. Once the film came out, the actor realized that Cameron's instincts were right all along. As he told Esquire, "After I saw it in the movie, I was so thankful to Cameron. That was a good lesson to learn. If someone is a good writer, stick to the script." Although Schwarzenegger's physical strength and good work ethic helped him break into Hollywood, something was holding him back: his strong Austrian accent. He told Empire, "I wanted to be a leading man, but it was not just that I had an accent, it was a German accent, and in America, that accent was scary. They wanted to cast me as a bouncer or a Nazi officer." Schwarzenegger admitted that test audiences for his early films found his accent frightening and intimidating. He worried that he wouldn't be able to land the roles he wanted, but that wasn't a concern for long. The success of the Terminator proved that the very thing casting directors looked down on Schwarzenegger for would actually turn out to be an asset. His accent made him unique, and he would eventually get some of those leading man roles he always wanted. The Terminator wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for that unforgettable voice.
Get out.
Becoming a movie star is far from Schwarzenegger's only major accomplishment. In 2003, he entered the political world when he won a special election and became the governor of California. He was re-elected in 2006 and returned to acting after his second term ended in 2011. Schwarzenegger has admitted that his time as the Terminator influenced his political career. It was the media that gave him the nickname the Governator, but he was more than happy to reference it during important events and get some cheers. As he joked, "When I'd go out to do a political speech, everyone is talking about the carbon footprint and the global warming and all that. That. Terminate climate change. Very simple. It's easier to say that, right? It's all from Terminator. I could use this stuff over and over." Starring in the first two Terminator films meant that Schwarzenegger spent plenty of time working alongside Cameron as well as Linda Hamilton, who played Sarah Connor. All three finally reunited once again to produce and act in Terminator Dark Fate, and Schwarzenegger considers them both lifelong friends. Schwarzenegger will be the first person to call Cameron a control freak, but he also accepts that the successful director almost always makes the right call. Schwarzenegger has referred to Cameron as the best director in the world, and it's clear that he has a massive amount of respect for him and his newer projects. Although Schwarzenegger and Hamilton had not worked together in about 30 years, they were ecstatic about being together on set once again and returning to their old roles for Dark Fate. Hamilton told Total Film, "I don't know if I can qualify it, but I know we're both still standing and there was just a comradeship and a deep affection I felt this time."